How am I mining iostwin faster than everyone else with no downtime? I found a hack. You'll find out on Dat Pulse. Dat Pulse. All right, before we look at anything else, let's look at the Bitcoin price and get a feel of what's going on in the markets. As we can see, Bitcoin had a nice run up yesterday after bottoming out around 94. Had a run up, but there wasn't much buy volume behind the run up. So we had another sell off, and now the buy volume is looking a little bit better than it was yesterday. Trying to stay above these moving averages, trying to keep these moving averages uncrossed. Had a nice bounce about an hour ago. So it's looking, it's healing itself. It's looking like it's healing itself, dusting itself off. Looking at the daily, still under those moving averages. Nice bounce yesterday. Another nice bounce that just happened, but we're not above moving averages yet. I really just want to see this support hold, and that's because looking at the weekly, we're sitting right on top of this 13 moving average. And if we get a close below this moving average, I'm saying the same things over and over. If we get a close below this moving average right here, that'll tell me that we're probably gonna head to this moving average. But that doesn't mean that we're gonna fall straight to this moving average. It just means that we'll start to trickle down to it. And if we do, by the time we meet the moving average, we'll probably be somewhere in this area right here. Looking at TRX. TRX not looking good. Breaking down. I think I'm about to sell some TRX. I'm about to sell my TRX after this. After I started to do it well. We got some support down here. I thought this was the support. I'm thinking this was the daily chart. We got support at 163 Satoshi, so I take that back. But it's not looking good. I have a bag of TRX that I've accumulated from Autopia divs, from all the Tron divs that I've been getting for the past maybe week and a half or so. And I was gonna start back accumulating my big bag, but I'm thinking that it's probably gonna roll over one more time. Let's look at the daily, like we just saw. Yeah, so it's not looking good. That was the weekly that we saw first. So, I mean, this gives me a little bit more faith right here that if I sell now, I'm gonna be selling the bottom, because we're getting so far away from that 13 that, yeah, it might be a bad idea to sell TRX right now, but it doesn't look good. And that's why it probably is gonna bounce, because it looks so bad. So it needs to bounce nowish. But I do think it might break down one more time. But we do have divergence on this RSI, if I can get it drawn. Well, incoming divergence, it hasn't happened yet. If we get a break lower, it'll probably become divergence. Looking at IOST. IOST looking better than TRX. Got to get above these moving averages. Nothing really to see here yet. Yep, it's bearish on the weekly at least. Now, looking at Autopia doing really good. Diamonds at 182,000 in the pool with 10 hours, 11 hours left. So that's what I like about this div pool is it's rake divs. So it's always going to be something in the div pool, and you're always going to get, at least now, I'm always going to get the same amount every day. The ratio is going to be the same unless people unfreeze, because they're pretty much all frozen. So that's what I love about this. The Autopia divs in the positive. They were up to 100,000 earlier, but 4 hours left. It's such a fair casino that this div pool isn't reliable for gains. The diamond div pool is the most reliable. It's such a fair casino that people can win a lot. It just depends on when they stop playing, really. If they stop playing when they're losing, div pool might be good. If they stop playing when they're winning, after they've won, it might be a bad day. So it's really up to the number that it pulls. It's really fair. Beehive, I'm up, still I'm working on my space bees. I'm up to 1,170 honey an hour. I'm about to top up and get my bee for today. I need 5,000, 4,000 more. I'm just gonna top up 5,000. And buy my 10th bee, my 10th space bee. And we'll see how much that's getting me. So I'm up to 1,217 honey an hour, wax an hour. I mean, I look at that, but I've learned that this is what I really want to grow. Upgrading, it's like a catch-22. I've been able to get my bees up so high because I've been claiming these right here. So I got like 4 bees yesterday for claiming this. Now, iostwin. This is going great. The wind div pool is now at 217,000. I'm getting 35 IOST an hour. This started off yesterday at 20. As I mine, this number is, these numbers are just growing and growing and growing. The IDT pool is at 196,000. This is going great. Now, what I've been noticing is been keeping track of these log payouts. So if we go to yesterday, we can see that we were getting, you know, every hour the payout from the div pool would, because you know the div pool only pays out this much per hour. It doesn't pay out the whole thing. It never resets. It's always, not always going to grow, but it's always going to pay out a piece of it every hour. So I was noticing yesterday that we were going up by 100, about 100 every hour. The div pool was going up by 100. And we had a period where it kind of took off. Someone, Daredevil, came in and started mining, and it really started to take off for an hour. Then another hour took off. But for the most part, we were doing about 100 extra IOST an hour. So right now we are at 2,977, and we can see that 2,977 with 54 minutes. So we're definitely gonna pass that one. We're definitely gonna pass 2,977 for this hour. So the next div payout will be bigger than the last one. So I'm basically making sure that everything is going according to plan. Everything is growing. What I've started to do is, yesterday, I started using this mining tab, and it basically allows me to mine faster than people playing the game, and without having to keep coming back and checking it. Now, I had this on 300 yesterday, but overnight I put it on 50 because I didn't want to blow my whole stack the whole overnight. I wanted to wake up and turn it on myself. So I have it on 50, bet number 5, over 5. The system, these are my settings. So these are my settings. I have it on 50, 5, bet on 5, over 5, randomly generate seed, that's my account. Automatically stake 59 minutes per minute. Automatic stake of 59 minutes per hour. So at 59 minutes, so 1 minute before the top of the hour, it's gonna stake all the IDT that I've mined, and I have it automatically receive dividends at 1 minute per hour. So 1 minute after the div payout, it's gonna claim my divs automatically. So it's easy. So I don't have to come, because yesterday, I found myself watching the clock all day yesterday. Like, I was watching it all day, and I'd be like, oh, let me go stake my coins. This lets me do it automatically. There's some cool statistics. Tells me how many times I rolled, the successful rolls, how many times I've won, how many times I lost. So I'm at a 95% win rate. Here's my profit loss. So overnight I lost 5,000 IOST. I started with 17,938. This is because the hour just started. I started with 2.7 million. Now I have 3.1 million IDT. So here's my cost. Now this number is important too. This is how much it's costing me to mine my IDT. So it's costing me 0.012, and that sounds pretty much normal. I think I think pretty much everyone's seeing that number. Now I'm not sure if this is if this is giving me a better mining rate or or the same as everyone else. It feels better, and it's a lot faster. So I'm actually gonna crank this up now to probably about 200. I just hit refresh and then 200 and start. So it's gonna execute, and each one of these subtasks is a role. And hopefully that'll get me on the leaderboard. Now, one thing that I'm doing is I'm looking at these as divs because it goes to my mining. So I'm gonna just keep mining until I see these numbers start to drop. Last night there was one drop. I think it was right here. No, this was this morning at 6 a.m. There was one drop where it was actually from here, 2882 to 2867. That was a drop, but I think that's just because the time of the day. So I'm not going to go off of one time period. I'm going to see if there's a day where this number's starting to decrease, and then maybe I'll step back and just collect. But I don't really see this slowing down anytime soon. The progress is 4%, so they fixed this. This is showing 4% total mine of the first round. We all know the first round is the most profitable round. So I think this is gonna go for a while, and like usual, by the time people realize how early it is, it's too late. So it's one of those, the thing about these dApps is when you find out about it, that's the best time to jump on. Not saying that you should jump on now. I'm not telling anyone to do anything. These are games when it all boils down to it. But what I see people doing all the time is they ask, is it too late? Is it too late? Is it too late? The way I do things is when I find something, I jump on it right. If I'm gonna I look at it, I run my little numbers and think about it a little bit, think or meditate on it for about maybe an hour maybe, and then I make my move slowly. I'm actually thinking about going harder into this today because I'm seeing that it's probably not going to slow down, and seeing that I just seen how when I woke up they had this update and how early it was. I may go heavier, I may not. I've only burnt about coming up on 70,000 iostwin so far. So I'm just trying to fill it out and just make sure I'm making the right move. I think it's still pretty early on this. I'm seeing new players. This player wasn't here yesterday. I don't remember seeing this player. So there are new players coming in. I think by this afternoon, if I see the numbers starting to climb, like if I start seeing the logs showing, 200 iostwin jumps per hour, I might start going a little bit heavier. I'm just gonna keep playing it. So as you can see, I'm already up to third place because I'm mining probably the same amount as these guys, but somebody might not be using the mining tool. So I'm probably, I'm skipping ahead because I'm doing more roles faster. But yeah, that's it. Check out Beehives, check out Autopia. And if you're mining, I recommend using that mining tab, and don't, if you're gonna gamble, but if you're gonna mine, pick one and do one. I'm just mining. Yeah, that's about it. Like and subscribe, turn on post notifications, and don't talk to me unless it's about decentralized applications. Peace.